Thank you, Christine. And first of all, I'd like to give honor to God, who makes all things possible. And it's kind of special feeling to be here today at the Jefferson Society. I mean, Jefferson was the third president of the United States. Some feel he was the author of the Declaration of Independence. He served in a time much like we face today, a lot of strife and controversy at the national level, where many people question whether our democracy would survive or not. And here I stand in the Jefferson Educational Society Center. And I would be remiss. I thought, what would I say to lead up to my presentation? And I thought, well, it would be difficult, no, impossible, to come here and to not mention my friend, the late Dr. William Garvey, and that who had such an impact on my life. And I'm going to talk a little bit about history. And that so he came to mind, as well as another great friend of mine associated with this is Dr. Charles Brock, who carried me on the speaking trail with him, both here and out at Penn State Barron. And then certainly last but not least, my friend, former boss, mentor, Mayor Joyce Savocchio, who is still involved with the Jefferson today. I couldn't stand up here and not mention them. And I want a special thank you to Ferky and Ben and all your staff for all that you do in advancing discussion, open discussion in our community. It's great to be in a city where we're not facing that kind of challenge today. So I consider it a privilege to be here and to talk about something that is near and dear to me. I'll try to make my discussion short enough, long enough that I can answer most of the questions that you would ask, but short enough so that you may be able to get a few questions in as well. And so first of all, I'd like to start out by just saying that about a little bit about Burton School. Okay. Burton School is the oldest public school building in the city of Erie. It used to be a part of Mill Creek when the Far East Side in that area was considered Mill Creek Township. It was on the edge, and it was a former four-room building built in 1895. That part of the building is still there, and it has been added on and renovated over the years. Has been and that I'm going to move that thing a little bit. Okay, let me see. Where's that? Okay, I'm thinking on the east end, and that the original Burton School, four-room house on the east end, and that this is Buffalo Road on this side. This is the front of the school, and that. But it was built in 1895, four-room brick schoolhouse, and the roofing you can still see. Okay. The building was named after a pioneering family in Erie. They're still around, the Burtons. They owned a large farm east of the present-day Downing Avenue. Downing Avenue is over here, so their farm would have been out in this area. And it was enlarged twice in the 1920s and extensively remodeled in 1982. It closed in 2012. So that building has been vacant for 13 years, that building, in 13 years. For 13 years, we have had to walk by that building. It's almost like back to the days of segregation when you walk past the neighborhood school to go to the colored school. They closed that school and since have been using it as a place for the police to do police dog training and to do active shooter training. And most recently, we have agreed to allow the police to put a shot spotter piece of equipment on the roof of the building in that area. It allows us to promote to the neighborhood a concern of ours about their safety. We know that for a lot of reasons, people don't call when they see things that are happening. The shot spotter allows the police to hear it immediately and to respond to an exact location to where those shots have been fired. Most recently, the police believe that they may have prevented the second murder of a young lady on the Lower West Side. A shot spotter identified a shot fired at 4th and Liberty. The police were able to respond immediately. They caught the perpetrator right there at the scene trying to get away, and they didn't have to wait on a good citizen to make a phone call. I hear shots. I don't know where it is, and that kind of thing. So in a neighborhood that has been rife with trauma, and that just a little bit more about the neighborhood, disinvestment and redlining have a real impact in the urban core of our community today. Often people don't realize that people who live in the urban core also pay taxes. Yes, they also buy services and products. They have more power and influence than they realize. But disinvestment has done this to our neighborhood. The school closed in 2012. Before it closed, the bank closed and left. After the school closed, the pharmacy closed and left. Then the bakery most recently closed and left. What has replaced the neighborhood are smoke and vape shops, are gaming devices and corner gas stations that may be 4 or 5 in a 6-block radius, automobile repair shops, used car salespeople, beer distributorships, and things of that nature, and things that really aren't conducive to the upward mobility or the hope factor for a neighborhood where almost half the neighborhood are kids 18 and under, and a third of the neighborhood are females or women, single parent households. You're lucky if you can get out of public housing or if you're fortunate enough to have a private home and make it off Buffalo Road to other parts of the city that provide hope and opportunity for you. What we've had is a history of trauma. There was a gentleman killed in front of the building who did a murder in Buffalo. And he was identified at a McDonald's out in Harbor Creek, and the police set up a roadblock in front of the school, and he shot himself in the head, and they left those markings there in the middle of the street for almost a year, right next to a school bus stop, where the kids could see that every day. Right in back of that, 2 young men decided to meet, not living in that neighborhood, decided to meet in that neighborhood. They were going to have a fight, and no one was to bring guns, but they both brought guns. And one of the young men left there dead. Up the street from there, a 7.5-year-old kid was shot in the head by a drive-by shooting. Down the street from the school, a 3.5-year-old kid was hit and run by a drunk driver. That kid was Sam Jethro's great-grandson. Down the street from my center, a 13-year-old kid was hunted down by a gang of young men and murdered a block and a half from our center. Block and a half from our center again, which is about 2 blocks from Burton School. At least 10 people have been murdered in a bar there, including my nephew, my brother Andre's son. So the neighborhood has enough trauma and enough violence and enough disinvestment, one would ever think, well, what the heck is going on there? That kind of paints the picture for you why Burton School is so important to us. Burton School is just a product of a revitalization plan that the Eastside Grassroots Coalition has come up with in partnership with the House of Mercy. Another piece of this neighborhood is something that I can talk about at the end of this presentation, is the aquaponic greenhouse that the Minority Community Investment Coalition, 2 partners with Urban Erie, Booker T. Washington Center and the Martin Luther King Center, are looking to put a $4.5 million investment to grow food called Grow Erie, a block from Burton School. We think that project and Burton School are the foundation or the cornerstone for revitalizing our neighborhood. If you look at public housing in that area, there are over 900 and some units and just in that 2-block area around the Burton School. From Bird Drive to Broad Street, there are 4 public housing units. There are 1,300 kids that live in that area, and another reason why we've got to bring revitalization to the schoolhouse. It's a symbol of that, and what we have been able to do. Let me see how I might be. This is the neighborhood. Okay, there's Buffalo Road. My center is there. Burton School is here. Joyce Savocchio Park is here, where we're doing Grow Erie and Aquaponic project. Bird Drive Housing Project here. Harbor Homes and Harbor Home Annex here. The Townies or Eastbrook is here. All public housing. Scattered housing on this side of Buffalo Road. The House of Mercy, one day Sister Michelle Schreck, who had been introduced to me by Sister Rita Brocky, God bless her soul. The one thing I can tell you about the sisters, whether they're the Sisters of Mercy, the Jehoshaphites, or the Benedictines, they move into our neighborhoods. They live like us. They live with us. They do transitional housing. They help women and children. They provide food programs, educational programs, community gardening, enrichment activities. They help seed hope where otherwise there would not be any. She asked me to meet her on Buffalo Road one day. So I came to Buffalo Road and she did. She said, let's join forces. Let's do like the West Bayfront. Let's do like Bayfront Eastside Task Force. At that time, there was a plan by the city organized by a consultant by the name of Charles Buki. They wanted to focus on downtown Erie for 5 years and the waterfront. And when we would raise concern about our neighborhood, they would tell us to wait. We were like, oh no, we can't wait. Just think back, folks. It's been 8 and 10 and almost 12 years since that plan of downtown and the waterfront. Millions of dollars worth of investment. If we had waited, where would we be? So we got ourselves together and we replicated what they did. We started counting where sidewalks needed to be repaired, where houses needed to be fixed, whether it was the roof or the shingles or the windows and that kind of thing. We were able to get small grants to do that. We were able to get small grants to organize, get the community out. And what we found out, we had the most diverse revitalization networks than anywhere in the city. Young people came to them. New Americans came to them. And so even today, when the authorities visit our monthly meetings, which are held the third Thursday of each month at 6:00 at the Quality of Life Learning Center, they're always impressed at our turnout. We have old and young, New Americans, Muslim, Christian, and it's all of that thinking has gone into this plan and the belief, the seeds of hope that we have to revitalize our neighborhood. And so we're proud of, again, I mentioned the disinvestment and the investment which had come to our area. Again, we have a history of trauma. 41% of the households are headed by single mothers with minor children. 44% of the residents are under 18. It's the highest in the city. A majority of the households are below poverty level. 47% of the people have no vehicle. I want to come back to that when I start talking about who we're reaching out to help us revitalize Burton, okay? 19% have no internet. 14% do not speak any English, and 24% are in poor mental health. These things impact all the services that we deliver and make for our work a much greater challenge in trying to address their needs. Our vision is to transform this abandoned school into a culturally responsive community hub for a revitalized Buffalo Road neighborhood. Culturally responsive. Culturally responsive. That means we want to utilize the people who live there. We want to, we can't do a European approach. They're not European. They're from Ukraine and Syria and Iraq. They're from Tanzania, the Congo, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, Eritrea, Liberia, South Sudan, and other places, and Nepal, and that. So we have to use a culturally responsive approach to meeting their needs. So we want to bring, well, right now we have 6 after-school sites, one on the far west side at an African church called Harvest, which is next to Erie High. We have one at a Nepali church on McClellan Avenue. We have one at a Muslim mosque that serves mostly Iraqi on Parade. We have one at McKinley School that serves mostly Afghan. We have one at a mosque on Holland that serves Libyan, Somali, Kenyan, Syrian, the whole body of Muslims that aren't at the other mosques. And then we have one at our center that picks up all the kids in our neighborhood that are white, black, Latino, and from those different countries that I just outlined. Our hope is to bring our after-school programs to Burton School. Right now, they're all over the city. And it was okay to test being able to take after-school program services and learning services to students where they work, utilizing their language and their people, and that to give them the foundation and the hope that they could succeed. But it's not sustainable from a transportation method and logistics. We're putting them in places that weren't built or not conducive for learning. So our hope is to relocate all of those programs back into Burton School. The percent of people that I mentioned who don't have a vehicle, we believe our neighborhood is the neighborhood for the community college. Anybody that knows me, knows my brother Andre, I thank you, Councilman Horton, for coming this afternoon. You know that we promoted community college. We went across the state, we stood up and we spoke against giants. The University, Cannon, Mercyhurst, the area schools. Erie had been trying for 44 years to get a community college. 29 years since the state last authored one. And we felt the thing needed most by the people we serve was access to low-cost quality education. So how could we not be for the community college? But today, that community college is as far away from us, our vision and our help, than the work that we and the investment that we made in it. And so we're trying to make a public appeal to the community college. You got to come where the children and the women are who need the services that a community college has to be uplifted. Low access to low-cost quality education and training. Anybody has any contact or influence with the community college, if you think that's a good idea, that's a way you can help us as we try to revitalize Burton and bring the kind of services there that are needed. We believe we should have a medical facility there. We have a vision of providing medical services to women and children. In the map that you saw back here, industry, that ain't Gannon, that ain't UPMC or Erie Insurance. Those are people that some people think are killing us. Bad air. If it's not killing us, it at least has a detrimental impact on women of childbearing age and children. Read the data. They tell you what it does to women of childbearing age and children. Our neighborhood is populated with that. No wonder we have high mental health needs. We have high respiratory challenges. We have kids who can't focus, kids who can't, that are impulsive, and that kids who can't concentrate. All of the things that they say chemicals do. Our kids don't have a chance. The women don't have the mothers of these children don't have a chance if they're not knowledgeable about what they're dealing with. That's what disinvestment or investment in our neighborhood, that's the kind of challenge that they've created for us. And so we're hoping that LECOM is our medical school of choice. They provide all kinds of services, and that from infant to seniors, women and children. We want wellness and not just a clinic that people can come to. We want to focus on wellness in children from infancy to maybe the age of 7 or 8, or to the grade of 7th or 8th grade. And that we want to focus down, foundation in that. So, and then we want to do job training for youth in the neighborhood. A year ago, we hired 100 youth with ARP funds and funds from the Erie School District. Imagine all those kids who we couldn't hire, who still had the challenge of walking around. We know kids walking around till they get in trouble, till they see something they think is a good idea, and they find out it wasn't such a good idea. And it's not like when we grew up, some of the mischief that you can get in, it has serious consequences today. So we feel that we give them something to do. It's more than a job. It's an opportunity to put some money in their pocket and to mentor them and to teach them the soft skills, the value of financial literacy and other things. And that last summer we hired 50 youth, and this summer we're on target to hire 46. Those kids cut the grass at Savocchio Park, at Burton School, in seniors' homes that can't afford or aren't able to get out and do that. I mentioned the health clinic and then banking services. I know everybody's heard a lot about Erie Bank opening up on Parade Street. People ask me, what about that? Well, I hope it works. I went to my bank and said, hey, can you do what Erie Bank is doing on Parade Street? Can you do that on Buffalo Road? And I'm happy to say Citizens Bank is very interested in that. Also, First Federal Bank is on our Buffalo Road track. We're finding out, oh man, investment doesn't have to look like what it has been. Maybe it won't be a full service bank with a great big old vault in the back, in the middle, in the basement, wherever they put them. But it'll be something that has financial literacy, education, access to other financial services and tools in that. So we're looking at bringing banking services there. And we also want to turn the gymnasium in the current building into a culinary incubator for new Americans. They grow a lot of food, and that we want to be able to teach them food handling and how you operate a kitchen or do things food-wise in America. They have to be trained to do that. And then we want to also provide them an opportunity in doing that, how to start a business and maybe incubate them till they can go out in the neighborhood of the city where they can open up their own business and that. These are just some floor plans, the ground floor of the building. The entrance is here on Buffalo Road. We want to make that entrance off of Prospect Avenue. Put a new elevator in here and that, and then look for investors who can afford to redevelop their own space. I have a lot of people saying, yeah, I'll come there. You build it, you fix it up, and then I'll come there. And I'm like, okay, that'd be nice if we had the resources to do that. We have the need. And so we're looking for partners like LECOM, like Erie County Community College, that we believe should make a long-term investment in our neighborhood. And we believe they can certainly afford to renovate their own space. What does Gary Horton look like managing their construction project? Telling them how to design it, where to put it, who to hire, oversee timelines for it, and all of that. They're much more qualified to do that than we are at Urban Erie and that. And so that we're looking for tenants of that nature. So if you have any of you sitting out there with a few dollars that you want to invest in that, we could use your investment. We want to create a board over Burton School in that. Urban Erie doesn't want to run it. They want to be able to create a board that the investors have a voice in it and have a seat in the oversight of the school.